Let's delve straight into our second segment as we look at the latest developments in the bread and confectionery space. Bakers across the country continue to bear the heavy weight of harsh business environment, ranging from higher gas and diesel prices to an even higher spike in the price of flour, eggs, and margarine. The stifling environment is not void of the ripple impact of the Russia and Ukraine crisis, which is a further heightening the production challenges witnessed prior. According to reports, bakers under the aegis of the Association of Master Bakers and Caterers of Nigeria, and of course, the Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria, PBAN, have had to increase, or if you want to use the word, jack up the price at least 3 times this year, March, April, and June. Well, let's understand why this has continued. We've talked about this before now. Let's see their developments and updates around this. And I have the rightful person. He's joining me via Zoom. Is Mr. Emeka Onora. He is the president of the Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria. He's joining me virtually from the United Kingdom. Thank you so much. It's good to have you join us on the show, despite your busy schedule.
Thank you very much, Tolu. Engineer Honora Emmanuel.
Yes.
Thank you, Tolu. Thank you for having me.
All right, then, Mr. Emmanuel.
Thank you for the medium always being there for us to ventilate our own voice to Nigerians and the government.
Great. So let's start with, as of the last time we spoke, I knew there were issues around price of flour, of course, sugar, issues around taxes, around wheat. Any development after the last time we spoke?
Yeah, if you recall, good afternoon, viewers, and good afternoon, Nigerians, wherever you're watching from the world. It's nice being here with you again. You recall we had a 4 days sit-out. That's a 4 days withdrawal of services by the Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria and the Association of Master Bakers. It lasted for 4 days and it culminated in a suspension on the 25th. Immediately we finished, we jacked up prices from the premium bread makers. We adjusted our prices by 10%, while the master bakers did between 15 and 20%, you know. But immediately we did that. A week after, the millers increased the price of their flour. They increased it again from 28,000 to 30,000, in some cases 30,500, and 31,000 as the case may be, depending on where you are sourcing in Nigeria. The millers, the sugar refiners, one of them stopped selling and they increased their price by 2,000 naira in that period between 25th and today. Calcium propionate has gone up by about from 38,000 to 45,000 naira. The same goes for milk and every other thing we are using to do our to make bread. So it's been an upward and spiral increase in the prices. The prices keep spiking, and we ask the question: what is happening? What is all this whole thing? Why can't, as bakers, why can't we rest in our hours? Why can't we rest, at least, and be able to plan? You know, so it's a very tough one. And what we have decided to do is, to be very honest, as businesses, we can no longer sustain the humongous subsidy we are carrying. So we decided now, if anything we buy is what we are going to pass on to the end users. We are not the makers of flour. We are not the makers of sugar. We don't bring in calcium preponate. We don't have poultry and birds that lay eggs, and we don't have the ability to bring in milk. So it is what we do now. It's garbage in, garbage out for us as businesses, so that we can remain sustainable. Because businesses are going under by the day. Businesses are suffering and hemorrhaging. So it's a very tough call for us, and that's just what we decided to do. And so as much as they pass it on to us, we pass it on back to the final consumer so that we can be able to pay for our materials. There's no need to subsidizing anything for anybody any longer, because as it were, nobody seems to be taking heed of all our cries and our plea. So it's what it is. We have to remain in business by any way possible to ensure that we don't go extinct as an industry.
Now, Mr. Noha, let me ask you, follow up with what you've just said. Many argue that the solution is to look inwards, is to look deep inwards, and of course, take advantage of some of our local materials to substitute basic imports, which we've been doing for a long while. But at the moment, what level are we with regards to backward integration in the bread and confectionery space?
Well, thank you, Tolu. As a result of the last the withdrawal of service we had as an industry-wide one, the federal government called us to Abuja on the 10th to look at the possibility of what we need to do as an industry. They called the two bakers association, the Association of Master Bakers and Premium Bread Makers, and all stakeholders. Ministry of Agriculture were there, the Federal Ministry of Industry and the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, the IDD department were there. The growers, the wheat growers association of Nigeria were there. The aim was, I think it was last week Wednesday, the aim was to see how we can, as an industry, come up with initiative that will help in backward integration for wheat production in the country. You know, like we always say, 13 states in the northern part of Nigeria produce wheat. But what quantity of wheat do they produce and what quality of wheat do they produce? To be very honest, we consume about 4.760 million metric tons of wheat annually in Nigeria to 5 million. Nigeria is able to produce only a paltry 300,000 metric tons. So you can see there's a huge gap. There's a huge shortfall between importation and what we produce in country. So until as a country, we begin to do backward integration like they did in the sugar refining industry, like they did in the sugar industry and all that, we remain in a dire strait. We'll be left in the lurch. We'll be left with the vagaries of the balance of trade between Nigeria and those foreign countries. So it's the way to go. Whether we like it or not, it's the way to go. The foreign exchange is becoming scarce and scarcer by the day. So what do we need to do? The government must sit down with the millers and industry stakeholders to see what we need to do, especially with the millers. The millers have done a lot, you know, in terms of development of seedling, working with the growers, you know. So they must partner, and that is the essence of the 15% wheat development levy that we've been collecting since 2012. You know, that was supposed to be a stopgap for 2 years, but up to that they are still collecting it. I think the only time they've removed money from that wheat development levy was during the last administration, where they removed some money and gave to master bakers. My association was not, we've not been registered by the Corporate Affairs Commission then. Since then and now, nobody has helped everybody. So the government should look at that fund critically. I guess it is a side with the Ministry of Agriculture or CBN. I wouldn't know. They should look at it and see what to do to ensure that that money goes to the farmers, that money goes for extension services, that it goes for research and development of the rice seedlings that will help to grow the quality wheat in Nigeria, because that's the way to go. Everybody's looking inward. Every country is becoming very nationalistic. You know, the other day we met with the Indians. Immediately this whole brouhaha of India, of Russia invasion of Ukraine started. Russia withdrew into their cocoon, and they said they were not going to sell wheat again to Nigerians. You know, so we must look inward in everything we do. It's a sin and it's a crime that almost everything that we use to make something as basic as bread and everyday food, you know, is imported. No country moves forward like that. There are basic things we can do here. You know, like they say, I'll talk about the cassava initiative, the orange flesh sweet potato. You know, these things are initiative, but you know, cassava, you cannot do more than 10%. Anybody that is telling you can do more than 10%, the person is not being factual. We've done the trials as an industry. We've done it on an individual basis, because cassava is rancid. If you use too much of it, it doesn't have any gluten content in it. It cannot bind. You know, so if you use too much of it, it becomes like ogoro. You will not enjoy the bread. It ferments. Then the orange sweet potato initiative that Firo carried out with a company in Nigeria, immediately they finished that, we asked for supplies. The company could not supply, and we asked the reason, why are you not able to supply? First off is that growers are not so many in Nigeria. You cannot even grow enough to be able to service the industry. You know, the bakery industry uses a lot of flour. You understand? Look at the quantity I just told you about. So if you are going to bulk maybe 20% of the sweet potato like it's done elsewhere, you have to grow it. And then the one we have in Nigeria, the one that was produced was a puree. For us as an industry, we are very mindful of our capex, our capital expenditure. You don't want to spend money again on freezing they should do more research into this whole thing so that at the end of the day, we can be able to retain the scarce resources, foreign exchange in country to do some other things.
Great one. Talking about the 15% wheat development levy, and of course, also the amount asked to be paid by one of the regulatory agencies. What is happening with regards to all of this? And was there any window given to bread producers or bakers during the COVID, after COVID, all that were done for MSMEs and all of that by government? Did you get a feel of any of these initiatives from the monetary policy angle?
No, we did not get anything from anybody from the federal government. In fact, the only people that even tried a bit was the Lagos State government through their Lagos State employability scheme. You know, they are the ones that called people to apply to get some grants and some single-digit loan of 5% for what that is only Lagos State that did something. You know, and not so many people got it because the conditions are very stringent. Of course, you have to know that. But for the federal government, no. When we met with the federal government on the 10th, we presented our working paper because we've done that before ourselves and the Association of Master Bakers. We made our position very clear that 15% should be removed for now. Or you freeze it so that there can be a leeway for the millers. Because whenever they drop the price of flour and it cascades to us, of course, we are going to reduce the price of bread because it is garbage in, garbage out for us. So if the onus is on the federal government, we submitted our position to them. We did a joint position with the master bakers, and we submitted it to the federal government. This was something we submitted about last year, October or thereabout. Nobody acted on it until this IDD, Department of Federal Ministry of Industry and Trade and Investment, came up and called us again. You know, they are now starting afresh. You understand me? We are small and medium-scale industries. We have money that is domiciled somewhere, that is the 15% with development levy, that we are saying that the government should jettison for now. As much as possible, remove it for now. You could do your normal wheat import levy or the duty on wheat import. But come to think of it, we are all in a dire strait. Everybody is feeling the pinch of what is happening, the inflationary trend. Yes, global, but as a country, we are feeling it more because there are no social backbones that is helping Nigerians. You know, there are no social amenities. You understand? I am somewhere out here now. People are getting reliefs here and there. The vulnerable in the society. So since we don't have that, the government can even freeze with import levy or that 30%, you can freeze it, the 15% with development levy and the 15% you are charging cumulatively to make it 30. You can freeze it for now. Place a moratorium on it for the next 1 year, 2 years, so that food can be on the table of Nigeria. It will be a travesty that food is not on Nigerians' table. It's something you don't even fathom it. Bread is a staple. Bread is supposed to be something that everybody grabs and go. As the children are on holiday today, it's a snack for them. Daddy, some children, if there's no bread on the table, they say there's no food in the house. As they are playing, docketing everywhere, they just go grab the bread, take maybe a spread on it, and take water until daddy and mommy comes back in the evening before they eat something very solid. So bread must be on the table. And as an industry, we are ready to ensure that we produce quality bread for Nigerians at affordable rates, because at the end of the day, it doesn't do us any good that the price of bread is being priced almost out of the reach of the common man. How can bread be going for 1,200 naira? How? The jumbo. In some places, not my association, some sliced bread goes for as much as 1,000 naira. Where does that happen? How do you expect Nigerians to feed? How do you expect people to feed? There are families that live on bread. There are families that do bread 1, 2, 3 in Lagos and some densely populated areas of Nigeria, like maybe Port Harcourt, Ibadan, Onitsha, and all that. We must look at those things and ensure that the government, especially the federal government, must wade in and see what they can do on this, because we are losing members every day. Like I always say, I had about 150 workers. Today, they are just 45. Where the 105 goes, I paid people off and some I stood off. Do you know that there is a 33% maybe or thereabouts unemployment rate and rate in this country, and already you are exacerbating it with throwing more people into the unemployment market? It has a dire consequences for our own in-country security. So the government must look at this, especially the federal government, look at it critically and ensure that something is done, and done very urgently, to ensure that there is the price of flour and other sugar and other things come down.
So as it is, with inflation figures out today, we see that some of the fundamentals increase in price of bread and cereals. So as it is, if we continue at this pace, we'll still continue to pay more for bread until some of these interventions become practical?
Tolu, that is a no-brainer. That's the reality on ground, because as businesses, we are set up to be sustainable, not even to be profitable now, because you plateau at a certain level, you remain at your plateau. If you dip down your plateau, you are in trouble. If you go up, yes, maybe you are doing something, profitable, but we are just saying, let us remain where we are, plateau at where we are, so that we don't come down or we don't go up. But in this case, we are going down south. So it's something must be done to ensure that food is on Nigerians' table. You know, we have the issue of the NAFDAC too that we've been complaining, and nobody seems to be listening to anybody. You know, you can't do 30% for a pack size of bread, and when you want to go back for renewal, they tell you that they're going to pay 154,000. You know, we've written to the DG severally. Nobody has answered us. You know, people must be responsive. People must know that these businesses are small businesses that need support. The fulcrum of every growth in every country is the small and minor small enterprise. You know, why should ours be different? And you complain and nobody seems to, everything is punitive. Everything is about making revenue for the government. Some of these things are supposed to be social services. You know, look at why do you pay 154,000 to renew something and you do the renewal every 2 years or 1 year, as the case may be? Why not 5 years or 10 years? Should it be that way? So as an industry, we are hemorrhaging. As an industry, we are suffering that straight. We are in a quagmire. Somebody should come and get us out of this vicious circle we find ourselves, or else the industry will just go extinct. I hope it doesn't, so that there can be bread in the table of Nigerians on a daily basis.
Mr. Emmanuel Noha is the president of Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time on the show. It's always a pleasure having you join us.
Thank you, Tolu. I just want to crave the indulgence of Nigerians. Understand with us, it's never our fault. It is what we buy that we sell. It is garbage in, garbage out for us. So please don't think we are being punitive or that we are trying to goad you price. No, that's not what we are. That's what we are set up for. We are Nigerians like yourself. We feel the pinch. It's a very unfortunate one, global, but our country must begin to do something in country to ensure that they ameliorate the suffering for bakers and we can remain sustainable as an industry. Thank you, Tolu, for having me always. And
indeed, that's the way to go. Enjoy the rest of your day.